Good morning, everyone, and happy Wednesday, September the 30th. This is the last day of September, the last day of the quarter. And there is a lot to break down when it comes to the current stance of our economy and the economic stimulus that is being proposed by the House of Representatives. So today I have a list of things that I'm going to share with you that are not included in this HEROES Act 2.0. Stay tuned, we're going to talk about all that next. Hello everyone, my name is Paul Zachary Shelton Jr. and I'm the Chief Investment Officer of Warwick Shore Advisors. We are a wealth and investment management firm located in Orlando, Florida with clients all across the United States. If this is your first time coming to my channel or seeing one of my videos, I ask that you please hit the subscribe button. Please ring the bell so that you can get an update each time I post a new video. And lastly, please like and share this video to help me increase the financial literacy of our globe. So I have my notes and I'm going to go ahead and give you my thoughts in addition to the facts that were released from this article that's in Forbes magazine. You can also look into the description of this video for this article as well, so you can read everything for yourself. So first off, we're going to be talking about the things or the list of items that are not included in this HEROES Act 2.0. So the first thing is that state and local government aid. So there's been about $480 billion that has been cut out of this. You know, the original HEROES Act called for $915 billion of federal aid to the state and local governments. Specifically, it allocated for $540 billion of aid to the states, territories, tribes, and an additional $375 billion in general aid to local governments. That aid has been one of the largest, forms of contention between the Democrats and the Republicans. And it's also been one of the reasons why President Trump has said so many times that he doesn't want to bail out blue states that mismanage their money, which in theory, every state is getting this aid, not just blue states, red states, but every state is receiving it. However, it is a significant amount of reduction from the original plan that was produced back in May. So that's $480 billion that is cut out of that total amount already. The next thing that was cut out of HEROES Act 2.0 is something that a lot of people was really concerned about, something I was concerned about too, being that my wife is included in this area as well. So that has to do with your hazard pay. So for all of those people that were exposed to the coronavirus during this pandemic that were essential in keeping our economy afloat and essential in battling the coronavirus, all those nurses out there, those grocery store workers, all those fast food servers, everyone in that service industry, we were expecting to get some relief and some sort of help and financial assistance to you guys, at least in the form of the $190 billion of hazard pay that was in the HEROES Act. HEROES Act 2.0 has cut all of that money out. It's not even trimmed down, but it's completely eliminated. So there will be no, at least there as of right now, there will be no support and no aid for all those hazard workers that are out there, which is very unfortunate because they're the ones that put their lives on the line and the lives of their family on the line during this pandemic. And just as a side note, the coronavirus is so complex. Healthcare is still trying to wrap its mind about how it all works. A lot of people are asymptomatic, as we know, and a lot of issues that are arising now or that were coming to the light now are because of coronavirus being mistested or misdiagnosed, a lot of false negatives out there. For example, my wife went into labor early with our child, and we've had several people that we know that have went into labor early or had to have an induction early. And a lot of the traits, when I speak with doctors here locally, a lot of the traits of why these women are going into labor early trace back to a lot of the symptoms and the common core of the symptoms of the coronavirus. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I can't come out and say, hey, this is reason why, all these things are happening. There could be a ton of reasons why there are a lot of inductions that are taking place or preterm labor that is taking place at this time. But I will say this, my wife was hospitalized for 5 days after she was released from the hospital. Our son was 2 days old. She went back to the hospital and was hospitalized for 5 days with a handful of the symptoms of COVID-19. She tested negative twice for COVID-19, but the doctor eventually told her that he believed that she had exposure to it. Even though the tests were negative, he believes that she was a carrier and possibly carrying the virus, and it did not bloom until after she gave birth. It's a lot that is still yet to be seen by that. The unfortunate part of this is my wife is a nurse. She worked as a nurse in the hospital with COVID patients all the way up until the time she delivered. So it's very possible that that exposure came from work. And that's one of the reasons why I was so passionate about so many people out there being able to receive that hazard pay. Not because it just would have benefited them more and gave them more money or anything like that, but really to say thank you for all your sacrifice and everything that you've done out there. So hopefully something will come about in the future for all those healthcare workers out there and all of those essential workers out there that kept our economy floating during the early onset of this pandemic and even through today. The next thing that was cut from the HEROES Act 2.0 has to deal with hospitals specifically and with that housing rental assistance. So there was $100 billion of aid that was cut from that. So I'm going to read from my notes here. It says the updated proposal by Democrats scales back the aid to hospitals and frontline workers, as well as funding for housing rental assistance. Each of these provisions was pared down by roughly $50 billion from their original HEROES Act total, which cuts it by a total of $100 billion. So a lot of people out there that was looking for assistance to pay their mortgages, assistance for a lot of different things when it came to their rent, housing allowances, and things of that nature, all of that has been scaled back. Not cut completely, but scaled back. The next thing on here was direct aid to homeowners in the amount of $54 billion. Now, this is something that was cut and scaled back as well from the HEROES Act. The updated HEROES Act cuts this provision by $54 billion, with only proposing $21 billion of assistance for that group of people. The last line item of cuts that took place had to deal with the U.S. Postal Service. So there was $10 billion, as I look here, yes, that was cut from the HEROES Act. Under the HEROES Act, which was passed back in May, and it included $25 billion in direct aid to the U.S. Postal Service. That has been trimmed down by $10 billion to $15 billion as of right now. When you put all of these together, it comes up to a total of $834 billion of aid that was cut. So that's roughly the amount that we see in the difference of the size of both of the proposals. Remember, the HEROES Act was roughly $3.4 trillion. Currently, where we are right now, as of today, is about $2.2 trillion. So there's about $400 million that of smaller items that were fluctuated and cut out of the original HEROES Act. So we're still waiting to see how we're going to move forward with this. But one good thing that I would note, and I think is very good news, is that Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin and both sides of the aisle are really starting to talk about this before bringing it to a vote. This means that when it does come to a vote, it's very likely that it will be passed by both sides of the aisle, and it could be signed into law by the president. If this is your first time coming to my channel or seeing one of my videos, I ask that you please hit the subscribe button. Please ring the bell so that you can get an update each time I post a new video. And lastly, please like and share this video to help me increase the financial literacy of our globe. Thank you so much and have a great day.